The music? Oh no.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's time. What? How many live stream do we have now? I forgot
I
now.
believe this is number 6.
This is number 6.
Yes,
Welcome to Lisa's celebration. We are having a fundraising for Lisa's 13th anniversary with her business to benefit and child marriages. And now I am so happy and proud to introduce to you Miss Lisa Middleton, and she is the one who's going to introduce her awesome guest for today.
We have Yolanda Lockhart Davis. And Yolanda, introduce yourself.
Hello, congratulations, Lisa Middleton, Felicia Middleton. Oh my God, the Foodie Builder has been in business for 13 years. I'm so happy to be part of everything she does. My name's Yolanda Lockhart Davis. I'm the owner of Salt, Pepper, and Soul, LLC. I've had the privilege to work with Felicia Middleton since 2018. We've been working on restaurant projects since then, and I'm so excited to be here.
And Melissa, just to let you know, you were talking about networking a few minutes ago. That's how we started doing business together, was through networking. So yes. Melissa, go ahead. I'll let you do, because Melissa, Yolanda, and everybody else, Melissa is all about networking and connections. Oh. And Melissa is so much help for me, especially with what she does in the marketing part of my business. So go ahead, you can talk.
Thank you, Lisa, because my journey right now is like I think I do have a gift of connecting people. That's why I'm thinking like I think I can do. I'm promoting right now the joy of networking.
Yeah.
So tell us your story. How did you connect with each other?
And that's fun. It was through networking. Yes. Yolanda, I have to tell this story because I remember I was with my two, I call them my sisters. They're really, beyond friendship. Pam and Tammy, out there, and we were sitting around a table, and it was late at night. We were sitting around a table talking, and I was on social media, but I had all of them open, and I said, "Wait a minute, this person just sent me a message on LinkedIn." Then I said, "Wait a minute, now they're following me on Twitter. Then they follow me." I said, "Who is this person?"
That was me.
That was Yolanda. She had now. Yolanda, tell them what made you start following.
What is so funny, and just to show you how I feel like there was definitely a bit of divine intervention involved with this. I was involved in a restaurant project at the Bourse renovation, the Bourse at Fifth and Market. I was part of, a large scope of work with the renovation project going on there in 2018. I knew one of the owners of one of the locations said that we needed an architect because we were like in the early stages of pre-construction. So it was my job to find an architect. I follow a lot of Black-owned businesses. So I in particular wanted a Black architect. So I started looking on LinkedIn. I was following another Black-owned business. I believe the young man is a barber.
And he's a woman.
A barber, yes. He's raising his profile. So I happened to be on his post, and I saw a comment from Felicia Middleton, and she's an author and architect. I said, "Oh, she's an architect. I need to follow her." So I followed her on LinkedIn. My background is in technology. I was in IT for almost 20 years before getting into food service, but IT is still heavily embedded in my DNA. So I followed her on LinkedIn. I quickly found her on Twitter, followed her. I quickly found her on Instagram. I quickly looked up her background. I said, "She's the one we want." So I called the owners. By the time she got on and realized who I was, I had already called the owners. I'm like, "Listen, I got the architect for you. This is the person we want." So
that was so funny because I never forget. I was like, I met my friend. We were just goofing around. I don't even know what we were doing around the table. And I said, "What? Who is this person?" And then I think I talked to you the next day, and I said, "How did you find me?" Because I always ask people, because I like to see where the connections are coming from, especially with marketing. Because when I'm in these networking groups, if I don't see a benefit of being in the groups, I don't always stay in them. So I'm like, "Well, where did you find me from?" And she said, "You liked the barber's comment and said congrats." And I said, "Barber?" I said, "Who?" But then it started making me click. It started clicking. A friend of mine that used to be an architect started his own barbershop years ago, and he had won Best in Philly, and I was congratulating him. And I said it didn't click because I don't consider him a barber because it's a more of a men's grooming shop.
Right. Yes.
I said barber. What barber would I be congratulating? And that was how. And then the word of mouth around the Bourse with the different, because you connected me with the contractor, and then with the next couple of projects, even after that, we connected on working on projects after that, outside of that. That was kind of and it's funny because I totally forgot about the Bourse until she reminded me about the Bourse. I was like, I didn't. But
it was a while ago.
Yeah, well, it started. We packing on years, and we worked on a couple of other things together. And then when I started writing my book in 2019, I thought, "Oh my goodness!" I think I threw the idea by you.
Yes.
One of the most important things you said that clicked in my head was the menu is the center of the plate, and that was kind of like I said, that is like if you don't have a menu, you can't design a restaurant. So
And that's what I said, and that's the core of not only the chapter that I wrote for the book, that's the core of what I do in my business in terms of restaurant projects. If I'm able to come in at the beginning, which is my favorite project is to come in at the very beginning of a restaurant project when somebody might just have a vision or a concept. I'm going to help them design their entire menu. I'll usually give somebody a high-level menu outline. I do that in good faith. That's my favorite part. I love doing that. But that's the easy part. It gets so much more involved. Once we break down the menu, break it down into every single item on the menu, what pieces of equipment are going to be needed to store the equipment, to store the food, to process the food, to prep the food, to cook the food, to hold the food at the proper temperature, to serve the food, what equipment, what supplies are going to be needed to serve the food. Then now, especially we get into takeout during COVID, you got to have an inner wrapper, you have to have an outer wrapper or a bag. If you have tamper-proof packaging, I've been helping a lot of people with that, especially during COVID. All of a sudden,
it's funny that you say that. My client during COVID, actually, they made me for the first time. We're going off topic, but I had to specify packaging.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people that.
The first time I ever had to do it with L&I, though. It was the first. I'm not L&I, the health department. That's funny, but COVID, and so you actually were on a show that I did about post-COVID, which we're working on. And Melissa, just to let you know, I'm working on a book called The Post-COVID. It's the same book. I don't have it. Oh, I wish I had it next to me. It's the same book, but it's the updated version of it. And that show that we did with John Sears and Victoria, the two scientists. That inspired me to write that next chapter of the book, because man, we went deep in that. Remember that one went about an hour and a half.
that was a phenomenal conversation where you and I were talking with the scientist and the engineer, and that's where I had the chance to learn about the LED lighting to kill bacteria, and then Victoria went into the scientific component. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal conversation.
And it was just a conversation that we did during the pandemic.
Right.
This is how we know, again, networking, because Melissa, just to let you know, she didn't know them.
Right.
She didn't know them.
I love to collaborate. Somebody wants to engage. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. This is great.
We met in that video.
Yes.
Wow.
It was a great like click that we all did, and we did that video, and that video that inspired me to do that post-COVID part of the book that actually, and some of the technology stuff that's really huge now post-COVID. It's going to go into it. So that's why when Melissa was asking you about getting you on her show, I'm like, you need to get on there because people need to learn about that technology stuff.
Yeah, and people need the restaurant needs to know you. You are the first one that they need to before they start the restaurant. Because imagine, are you the one who's naming the menu too? Who's naming the menu?
In a lot of cases, yes. In a lot of cases, yes. Like I'll come in, we'll talk about first of all, we'll talk about the owner's vision. And it depends if the owner is a chef or not. Because if the owner is a chef, they're going to have a very different vision from if the owner is not a chef. So, and that's two very different types of
people that want to open up a restaurant and they know I want to have a chicken restaurant, but they don't know how to make a menu. They don't know with what. And then they say, I want to make a fried chicken restaurant, but I don't want to pay for a hood.
That's okay. I'm gonna come in, and show them the specs for a high pressure fryer, similar to the types of fryers that they might use in Chick-fil-A or KFC, but I'm gonna show them a smaller version that is ventless. I'm so excited.
Oh my God,
and this is how
it will pass the health inspector's requirements. It is NSF rated. It has a small footprint on a tabletop. It will fit in your kitchen. It will work. It's practically odorless because of the filtration technology. This is what I do. I can tell people without any hesitation, without any pretentiousness, I am the best at what I do. I specialize in 3 areas: food safety, strategic planning, and restaurant technology.
Yes,
Just to let you know, Melissa.
Yeah, if I'm the owner of the restaurant, like what category are you? Like what category? Like food service by this or something like that. Inspected by this, because if I see in a restaurant like inspected by this something, and then I will be happy to see that because this restaurant is clean. Something that is the restaurant like showing things like that?
No, not from the health department. They only give you a satisfactory. They give you a little certificate that says it's satisfactory, but that's from the health department. That's not from what we do. We're more behind the scenes to help them to get that.
I know.
Our goal is to help them get to that point where you have the right equipment, you have the right design, you meet all the code. Mm-hmm. You have everything. You have the right materials on the floor, the walls, and all of that. And you're ready to open up. And that the restaurant design has been a huge part of what I've done in the last 3 years with my business. So being able to pull people from different walks to be able to help me move forward in my journey. Because when I started, I don't know if I ever told you this, Melissa. When I first started my business, I originally wanted to do restaurant design. But I never knew what was the right way to approach it. And since I was coming out of doing car dealerships at that time and doing, houses, I did restaurant design exclusively many, many years ago. But when I started my business, I wanted to do restaurant design exclusively. And I would do a few every year. But not until around the end of 2017 did I just launch I want to just go forward and just go for doing restaurants. And that's why I had to meet all these different people in the industry, chefs and food service consultants to help me push that forward.
So you are the first one that the restaurant has to have before they open the restaurant.
Well, they have to go through all of us. So what happens a lot of times is they'll either call Yolanda first or they'll call me first. Right. You really, time they're not going to call a contractor because the contractors are clueless when it comes to, unless they design restaurants, they're going to tell you to call an architect or call somebody like Yolanda who does the consulting, who she'll end up need to do the design, which she did in that. Either
like I'll pull her into a project and she'll pull me into a project.
That's what I was just about to say. That she'll either call me first because she gets somebody that's on the more consulting end, or I'll call her first because I get this crazy restaurant that I have no clue what to do when it comes to. There was a restaurant, I won't name the name, but we were doing. It was a genre of food I had never dealt with before, and I had to pull Yolanda in on that. And I mean, that's the kind of way
Collaboration that you have.
Exactly. That's another form of collaboration, which is huge.
Yes.
Well, sure, that's huge.
Oh my God, we could have a segment of just doing in the restaurant. We have to do something because I get to learn more about because of that Netflix movie. I understand.
So funny. She can talk about that Netflix movie.
I love it.
A tiny bit of what we do. That who she was in that movie. That's a small bit of what we do. We do so much with the restaurant design. It's crazy. I mean,
but that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
What is this? 13 chapters, I believe. We're adding 4 more chapters to this. So the steps are so huge. It's so many different moving parts to putting together, and it's so many people. I try to explain to people all the time. You got engineers. You have multiple engineers. You can have multiple designers. You have the food service consulting, the chef. You have all of that. We all come together, and we have a team. So I found a team of people that are in what we call our professional community.
Right.
We have this professional community for restaurant design, and we collaborate with each other, and we refer back and forth. And
I want to bring a category in my Coffee Connect so we can add more, like the foodies. Like it's the most, what you do is very, very important for the restaurant, especially for the cleaning, it's like the way oh my God, are you the one who's doing the thermometer in the freezer? Like you have how much,
we do it with a scanner, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I do it 2 different ways. I mean, I can use the thermometer that looks like a scanner. That's an air thermometer. Or I use the regular thermometer, the digital. I have a digital thermometer that I have one in every bag. I carry them everywhere I go. It will go in the food. I'll take the air temperature in the freezers and the refrigerators. I'm taking the temperatures of hot food, of cold food, making sure it's to be served at the proper temperatures. Every food service professional really truly has a responsibility to the public to ensure the public health.
Yes.
That is so. Oh my goodness! Say that again, please, so we won't be getting sick from food.
This is long before COVID, but it's even more critical now, and this has to continue in the post-COVID kitchen.
Yeah,
every single food service professional has a responsibility to ensure public health. Every single person,
even me. Besides, I don't cook, but I'm designing, and I'm concerned about the health, safety, and welfare of the public when it comes to the facility. So I do the facility. She does the food and the equipment, making sure that equipment is right. So we all play our little part. And it's crazy because some people don't think it's that big of a deal for the facility. Way. And it has to be.
And I didn't realize that, the face of her. When do you know? It's like, it's only a little. Do you know what's going to happen to that? A lot of bacteria is going to go like, oh my God. It's like, it really into my mind. That's why I said, oh my God.
Yeah. And when we go to restaurants and we see crazy stuff, we cringe. And sometimes I walk out. I go, I can't do this.
She walks out. I make a phone call. I send the email. All of a sudden, they're getting an inspection within 24, 48 hours.
I haven't gotten to the point where I make phone calls yet.
Absolutely. I do. I absolutely do.
I know.
Excuse me. Do you have a specific time for checking in a restaurant, like for the cleaning or something? Like, how do you call that? Is there a specific, like, every month? This is the check. It depends on the restaurant.
Well, it's not just restaurants. I actually just took on a group of charter schools this year as a client because they have a kitchen. They serve children. I used to cook for a nursing home. So anytime the kitchen is open, anytime food is being served, I mean, ideally, I've given clients a self-inspection checklist that they can use. I recommend that they do it every week. I might come in every month or every quarter, but once I do an initial inspection, once I give them the initial report, and my purpose of that is more along the coaching lines to help them understand what the violations are and why the violations are violations.
Yeah, because we want to catch them before they get the violation, right?
Right, absolutely.
You don't want these people to have fines.
Right.
Yeah.
My objective is to help them pass an inspection from City of Philadelphia or Bucks County or wherever.
Yeah,
I have an actual chapter in the book, and it's written by an inspector, and it's called "What to Inspect When You're Inspected."
Yes.
Because a lot of times people don't even know what the inspector is looking for, and one of the things we want to make sure is we prepare you for inspection. We want to walk through, and we'll tell you that I had to do this for a client, that ceiling tile. Your contractor, sometimes I can go on and on about this stuff, but sometimes
this is a lot of
the wrong material. You know that, right? They'll slip in the wrong materials. And I had to tell the client, I had to go, your contractor put the wrong tiles in the ceiling.
Oh my goodness.
And she was looking at me like, what? I said, yeah, you're gonna have to take all those ceiling tiles down. It's horrible.
Wow. We had an awesome conversation with your awesome journey with Yolanda. This is awesome.
Yes, and it is.
Yeah.
When we talk about food, we get excited.
I know. Me too.
We can go for hours. We have to do another session like this because we can literally talk for hours. Because she knows, and I tell everybody, when I say every single person in the restaurant or in the kitchen is responsible for public health, I mean every single person, from the chef, from the maitre d' down to the dishwasher. Because if the temperature of the dishwater isn't right, it's not cleaning the dishes properly.
Yep.
And that's an opportunity for bacteria.
That's one of the I'm talking with a colleague from another country. And that's one of the huge things she talks about. She's a food service. She's an inspector and food service consultant in another country in Europe. And we've been talking on Zooms and back and forth on Facebook. And that's one of the biggest things she talks about, because allergens are huge when it comes to stuff like that. So
that is good.
Yeah,
good.
We are going to have past our time, but it's been great.
Yeah, this has been great.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, don't go out yet because we have to finish this recording. And then
this was back to our typical work that we always do instead of
we love it. It's so great that we each work independently. We get the opportunity to work together. We really enjoy what we do.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But thank you for helping me celebrate.
Yeah, don't go out yet. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your awesome 13th year anniversary. We're doing a fundraising. If you can donate to AAYLF, I forgot to do this. AAYLF 2010 @gmail.com, and make a note to UACCD number 13. So if you
help us to end child marriages.
Yeah.
in Africa. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
Yes.
What we're trying to do, we want to help a young girl get an education instead of being forced into a marriage. That's our ultimate goal. So thank you again. And you're a part of helping us and part of helping celebrate. So we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Don't go out yet.